Hey, welcome to a special edition of LaborVision, ULP, Unfair Labor Practice. What is it? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm your host, James Dennis, and I have my co-host, Charles Daniels, and we are here with Manny Hartman, District 3, Florida Mobilizing Coordinator. Hey, and we're here to talk about the unfair labor practice that's going on down there. Maybe we're going to find out what it is. Charles, how you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for having me back on. I appreciate it. I'm excited to get a chance to talk about this because there's a lot of corporations out there that aren't bargaining in good faith, and we need to shine a light on that. So appreciate Manny coming on and helping to educate folks.
And remember, we were talking about this ULP. And Manny, what's going on? How you doing today, my brother?
All right, my brother. Good morning, Jimmy, and good morning, Charles. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thanks for being on the show, man. What's going on down there, man? Florida's supposed to be nice and warm, and everybody's supposed to be happy. Is everybody happy? What's happening?
Oh, warm it is. Happy no. We have a lot of our members here at CWA, locals 3120, 3121, and 3122 that are rather unhappy because AT&T is not bargaining in good faith, and on top of that, they are also suppressing our right to express ourselves under Section 7 of the NLRA.
How so?
Well, so to go back as mobilization goes, as you all know, those of you that know about mobilization, our job as coordinators is to agitate. And so here in the South Florida heat, and obviously throughout the Southeast where it gets rather hot and contentious down here, we have to seek protection. And somebody, one of our mobilization classes, came up with a fantastic idea of wearing sleeves. And so normally, traditionally, the sleeves would have been to cover tattoos or other things on forearms of folks, but we were more in line to using them for protection against the sun and the elements down here. And AT&T did not like the certain pattern of our sleeves, and they tried to limit us to the type of colors, the type of patterns on the sleeves that we had to wear, or better yet, as they phrase it, what we were permitted and allowed to wear under their makeshift uniform policy.
Okay, so let me get this straight for our listeners. So the workers have to wear a uniform. So you didn't deviate from the uniform. But part of the uniform, some of the uniforms are short sleeves. And what you were doing was putting the sleeves on, sort of like the cyclist ride when it's cold out, the sleeves that you can put on and snatch off when it gets warm. And the sleeves just probably had something on it talking about your mobilization act or the fact that the people were banding together for a cause of getting a good contract. Am I correct?
You're 100% correct. And basically what was said on the sleeve, I pledge.
I pledge what?
Just, I pledge.
Wait. Hold on. So you getting this, Charles? Did you hear him just say, the sleeve just said, I pledge? It didn't say, somebody sucks or this person is bad or name somebody. It just said, I pledge. I can pledge allegiance to the flag. I can pledge allegiance to you. What's going on here, Charles?
Yes,
what you think?
And to go back, when Manny mentioned the NLRA, that's the National Labor Relations Act, and that's what governs all labor law in the United States. So there's something called protected concerted union activity that you're allowed to do. So them having those sleeves on, they're not inappropriate. They don't say anything that's obscene or vulgar. The uniforms that they have on already have CWA logos on them in some instances. So there's nothing that they're adding to it. It was just the fact that the company is trying to suppress their ability to mobilize their protected concerted union activities under labor laws. And that's where the ULP on that end came from, the fact that they were implementing a unilateral change without bargaining it, and that's a mandatory subject of bargaining.
Right. See, Charles, you had everybody magnetized. Like, oh my God, that would sound really, really good. Okay, so got the sleeves. You put them on. What happened?
Right. So, by the way, great explanation there, Charles. Couldn't have said it better myself, and probably couldn't. But basically, besides it saying "I pledge," we had the CWA logo up towards the bicep. So we commenced our mobilization activities with the sleeves. We had them done by a union printer down here locally in Miami-Dade County.
Good man.
And we had them distributed. And as the folks kind of gravitated to it, at first, they were like, this is awkward. So we had to pretty much teach them, that this is okay. Don't feel awkward about wearing them at work, into the workplace or out in the field. Little by little, we had more folks wearing them. And what we were finding out, Jimmy and Charles, is that management was selectively focusing on certain individuals for having them on. And I'll just give you case in point. It was the separation pretty much between the UVerse, what we call EIFS, the UVerse field technicians compared to the core technicians, the TFS technicians wearing the sleeves. And with about 80 to 90% acceptance by management in the TFS world, they were not having any issues wearing them. No, nothing. It could have been in construction, in the different divisions within core, the technicians that work out in the field and in the infrastructure. That was not a problem. The problem was with the EIFS, the technicians that had more of a customer contact with, out in the field. And that was where the orders by management were beginning to come down.
Hey, Manny, let me ask you this, because I've seen some of the mobilization pictures that were down there, and I've seen other technicians in that department that have long sleeves underneath their uniforms. I've seen them that have other sleeves on that don't have that kind of branding on there, and they're not telling them to take those off, correct? They're just specifically saying you can't wear these ones that say "I pledge" with the CWA logo. We're all proud CWA members. AT&T says they pride themselves on having union membership in this country. It was just specifically those sleeves, right? Other people could wear theirs, but you couldn't wear yours.
That is absolutely correct.
And another thing I want to bring out is the fact that you were talking about the two different work groups. And I just want our audience to understand that the work group that's being harassed, allegedly, I'll just say it like that.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, exactly. It's the younger group. And what I mean by younger is a newer title. The group that's not being harassed have been around for years. It's an older title. So the thing is, it's trying to keep that big void in between the new workers and the old workers, because the highest seniority person you have in that in what we call premise techs or the younger group, what would you say the highest seniority is? What, maybe 10 years?
That's about right.
Yeah, yes. About 10 years. Whereas you got somebody with maybe 40 years on the other side. They're not messing with them guys. Not that everybody have 40 years, but they're literally messing with that new title, which they've been picking with that title a lot lately for a whole lot of different things, unfortunately.
That's correct. And Jimmy and Charles may add, amongst, the many things that we've discovered along the way, we noticed that the older management, the management that has been here from prior to the merging of the one conglomerate, we have found the older management to be perfectly fine. It's almost like we're not wearing anything. They don't even acknowledge it. They just about ignore it. However, on the other side, where management is a lot newer, younger, you don't have very much tenure there on the management side of the house. And the other thing that really bothered us was that there were other area managers within that younger group that were allowing the technicians to wear them.
So they were picking and choosing.
That is absolutely correct.
Got it. Let me ask you this, Manny, because I've also seen other things online, other bargaining reports coming out talking about another ULP, another unfair labor practice that board charges have been filed on in regards to bargaining in bad faith. Can you help explain what that is?
Yes, I absolutely can. In a simple sense, let's just say you go to go to sit down at the bargaining table, and then I meet with you, Charles. We come to an agreement, and we say, okay, great. So would you sign off on it? Could you acknowledge that we're okay and we can move forward with other things, other topics here in our contract that we can try to iron out? I'm sorry, Charles, I can't sign off on it. Well, what do you mean? Then, what are we doing here? I said, well, no, we're just meeting just, to make sure things are ironed out. I said, yeah, but before we move forward and begin to, try to iron out other things, we need to get the okay here so that we can get situated and move forward. And I'm sorry, Charles, I can't sign off. I can't.
So essentially the people that are sitting at the table from the company's side who are supposed to be negotiating in good faith don't actually have the authority to settle anything. So the people that your bargaining committee who are able to make said decisions, who are bargaining in good faith, don't have a counterpart on the other side of the table who is doing the same, which again is part of labor law when it comes to bargaining in good faith, is the people that are at the table have to have some ability to reach agreements. Otherwise, what's the purpose?
Yes.
Right. And another thing, just for our audience, usually when you're bargaining, it's certain things that's on the table. And once you discuss those issues and you settle it, you're supposed to take those issues off the table. That's what you're talking about, Charles, as far as being able to make a decision to say, yes, we're good with this decision here. That's what the sign off is. And as things come off the table, that contract gets negotiated. Now, if we never take anything off the table, then nothing ever gets done. So both sides have to have the power to go, we agree to this, we don't agree to this. And right now, that's what they don't have. Right.
Correct. That's my understanding on it. And Manny, I was looking at some of the literature that was coming out, and it looks like there's 20,000 folks down there, 20,000 members that are now on a ULP strike based on that bargaining in bad faith labor board charge. Is that correct?
That is correct, Charles.
Yeah. Give them hell.
Tell them we applaud them.
That is great. So that is correct. And that not just includes the outside forces in the 9 states here in the southern region. It also includes call centers, and that's a whole different entity. And we have 5 call centers within our District 3.
Wow, 9 states?
That is correct. Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana.
So, Manny, what I've read with these reports that come out, all essentially that the membership is asking for is for the company to provide someone at the table who actually has the ability to make a decision when it comes to reaching a tentative agreement that you can then take back to the membership to vote on to get a fair contract. That's the ask, correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay, that doesn't seem like a lot. This is a
Nope.
mega corporation that's sitting down at the table to negotiate a contract. They know that they have to do that. They're well aware of it ahead of time. I'm not sure why that wouldn't be something that was already in place other than the fact that they just simply don't respect the process.
You're right on. It seems like they're wanting to conduct business almost like a, I don't know, one of their meetings, stockholder meetings or what have you. I just don't get why they cannot bring the decision makers to the table. And I know, like you all in District 4 and just encountered the same. We had, this kind of didn't catch us by surprise. We were suspecting AT&T would attempt to do this, but you go in with the negotiations, try to go in with a fresh start with a clear mind. And this is not even, this is already an expectation for you to have, when you come in and you want to sit down and negotiate. It's an expectation. It's understood. And this is something that's never, ever happened before. Our last contract was bargained for in 2015. And certainly, before that, contracts before that, we've never had this kind of behavior by the company.
That's something up in District 4 that we experienced as well. We just recently ratified a tentative agreement on August the 5th. So that is the contract, and it's a 4-year contract retroactive to when it expired, which was over 15 months ago. And we saw some bargaining tactics used by the company that I'd use the word dirty, underhanded, shady. Pick your superlative, whichever one you want to go with. It's definitely a different world. It feels like these corporations have been emboldened that they no longer have to follow the rules of labor law, and that's terribly disappointing because all those labor laws do is establish a protocol that we all follow so that the unions and the companies have a set parameters that we all have to abide by so that we can get to the main goal, which is a contract that works for both sides. And when one side is skirting those issues and it's not actually maintaining those rules, then the whole thing devolves into chaos, and then you get actions like these where you got 20,000 people that are forced to go out on an unfair labor practice strike because it's the only way to draw attention to the fact of what's going on. So Manny, I've seen the pictures of the guys on the picket lines. I've seen some of the mobilization that you're doing. Could you speak to that? What exactly you're doing to spread the awareness of what's going on?
Absolutely. Main key is there's two keys that we have found to two key ingredients to a successful mobilization: turnout, and you need to get the media involved. And it depends, at all level. It can be local media, or it can be state or national media. It does not have to be, straight out CNN or MSNBC or NBC, ABC or whatnot. It can stay local. And actually, local sometimes is better because it resonates with the community. And that is a huge part at the end. You've got to get buy-in from your community. They need to see you in good light there. And they need to know that we are an asset to the community and we're a very fabric of the community. We make up the community.
Absolutely.
Yes. We spend our money in the community. We give back. And in turn, I think these are very important ingredients to having successful mobilizations.
Now, you know what? Let me ask you something. What is the issues for the contract? What are you striving for in this contract?
Well, pretty much just the basic things that, like every contract: wages, healthcare, 401k, pension is very big, of course. Those are the essential things, and there's many other things, but this year, what we have found through the mobilization classes, Jimmy, is a very awkward thing that we did not really expect to encounter, and that was having our members say, look, we're getting paid pretty damn well, and we recognize that. We are very well aware that we're lucky to make the money that we make. What we want is job security. Yeah, we want to be able to wake up every morning knowing that we're going to be fine and that we don't have to worry every 3 to 6 months that we can be on the chopping block.
So it's not just a money thing?
That is correct.
Because that is one of the things that people always complain about unions is that we're always going after money. You guys are looking at job security and creating new jobs for other people.
That's right, Jimmy. And
Okay.
the main thing, the main reason why we do not have our heads in the sand. We realize technology is needed and you can't stop it. Change is coming, change is here. So what we want is for being able to tell the company, okay, you will have your change, and we understand that this drives, because at the same time, we understand AT&T's in a very competitive market. Okay, we're not the only internet service provider. There's no doubt about it. We know that. The main thing is we want to be able to have the access to the to the jobs that are going to bring about change, and the change is happening as we speak. We want to be able to have access to the to those jobs. So they talk about 5G and wireless. Well, that's fine, but there has to be an infrastructure in place. And that doesn't mean just being able to cut us out of that work and bringing in contractors.
Yes, and one of the big things that just happened within the last few years is the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, which made a huge impact on these corporations where their tax rate, the corporate tax rate, went from 35% to 21%. And I know AT&T CEO Randall Stephenson in April of 2017 was speaking to this when he was lobbying for those tax cuts to go through. And he said that he knew exactly what AT&T would do with that money. They would invest in America. For every $1 billion of investment, that would be 7,000 jobs, good jobs, hard hat jobs, jobs with great benefits and wages. Then when they did pass, they've been laying folks off ever since December of 2017, when those tax cuts were actually enacted. They've eliminated 23,000 good jobs. So where exactly are those jobs at? If you're telling the American people, we're going to use your tax dollars for this, and then you're turning around and using it for something else, there has to be some kind of accountability to these corporations. That's our money. We're the ones that's left holding the bag on this.
Isn't that the trickle-down effect?
Yeah, well, water trickles down, money flows up.
I mean, seriously though, in real talk, some folks believe in that trickle down effect, but for some reason in my lifetime, it's never worked. I've never seen that work. You just proved that with what you just said. You know, if we give them the opportunity to create new jobs, give them the tax break, right? Because the tax break is supposed to enable them to be able to pay more money out.
Invest in America.
Right.
Invest in your workforce.
So if you're, okay, I'm going to give you the break. Okay, cool. So that means I can either do A, have more profits, or B, I can take that money and invest it in my workers and invest it in the community and invest it in, you know, our country as a whole, being more educated.
Which was the pledge. That's what they said they were going to do.
But it's profits.
Well, Manny mentioned call centers, and that's something that's very near and dear to my heart. Our local lost a call center, and they're continuing to build up their call centers in Mexico City and Guadalajara. And I'm sure there's concern down there in District 3. I know that you have, I believe, the largest foreign language call center in the United States. So when they're building up those other call centers that are offshore, there has to be a fear that they're going to take that work away from the members there and send it somewhere else. Is that correct, Manny?
That's correct, Charles. And Jimmy, I agree with you completely on that old trickle-down theory. It hasn't worked for us at all. And the call center down here in Miami is unique in its makeup, and it's unique in the way that we've known that just about 3/4 of the non-English calls that come into AT&T come into our call center. And this encompasses not just Spanish, you've got French, Creole, Portuguese, and you run the gamut. And we have a unique makeup in the community. These are folks that work and live in the community, and that, you know, are loyal people in the very fabric of the community.
So you're not putting your money into some Cayman Islands bank account. You're not filtering your taxes through the Netherlands or Ireland or somewhere like that. You're actually spending your money here in the United States at American corporations, at small businesses, on your taxes, et cetera, correct?
Wait. You can spend your money in your community. So labor and community is kind of one?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And workers make up the majority of Americans. So these politicians that are out there, these are your constituents right here. When you're reaching out to your elected officials, what kind of response are you getting?
Right. So Mandy, what do you want us to do? What do you want the world to do? Because this is a podcast and it's going out into the world. So what do you want us to do? What should we do?
Well, keep doing what you're doing. That's number one. You guys are doing an incredible job. But also we need to be able to share this through all different variety of platforms, social media. That's a quick hit. The media uses social media, right? So you can, on Twitter, you can, tweet to the different, news outlets. That's like a quick impact. But still, the TV, the camera, right off the get-go, that plays a big impact. And to be able to show that it's not just us, the workers, it's our families, it's our children. Tomorrow, we want to leave a good tomorrow for our families. And I would say that right off the bat, just sharing it through social media and contacting the legislators, that has been something that I know worked very well for you all in District 4 during your long negotiations, you've got to get the politicians involved. And if they don't come out the first time or they don't answer and reply, you hit them up again and you visit their offices and you demand meetings. You just say, look, we elect you. You work for us. We do
Yes.
not work for you.
Preach.
Yeah, we Charles, I think we did a really good job getting our folks involved. They did videos. They did. I mean, shouts out to all of our Congress people that did some great stuff. We had Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Lawrence. Who else did we have? Slotkin.
Haley Stevens, Alyssa Slotkin,
Yeah.
Andy Levin, Debbie Dingle, Dan Kildee. We had tremendous response here. Dan Kildee's on the Ways and Means Committee, which has to do with the tax cuts.
What about the guy that I don't think he won? But dude, he's been on a lot of our picket lines, and I was kind of sad that he didn't get in. I think we had one guy that was running. He didn't. And he still stayed, and I've seen him on picket lines since. You brought him out. He was on our
Tim Greimel. He was a state representative. He ran in the 11th district where he did not win the primary. Haley Stevens did, but Haley Stevens has been an absolute rock star when it comes to labor
she's
in
been
Michigan.
A rock star, right.
So she's been great as well. But Tim has also maintained active. Yes.
That's where I'm getting. That's where I'm getting to. He maintained. He's still active. Because he's still on the picket line. So
you never stop. You never stop in this. People have asked me, when is mobilization over? And the answer is never. It's never over. You got to continue fighting for fairness in all aspects, because they are going to keep putting their hand in the cookie jar. They're going to take as much as they possibly can. If you give them an inch, they will take a mile. It is incumbent on us to be the ones that tell them, no, America is about workers. And when the workers succeed, the whole country succeeds. And that's when we were great. When the workforce was strong, when unions were strong, that's when things were good for everyday, average, middle-class American families. And we need to get back to that. So, Manny, my hat's off to you. You guys have been working super hard down there with all the mobilization, because all mobilization is just spreading truth. That's all that you are doing, is spreading truth, spreading awareness. I've seen the investigateatt.org website. I've seen the goodjobsatd.org website. Those both have petitions on them that you can sign asking your elected members of Congress to hold AT&T accountable, because I believe their reallocation of funds was like $21 billion going into 2018 from the tax cuts. They're getting $3 billion in perpetuity moving forward. That is a lot of money that has been handed to them, and they've used that money to buy back their own stock and to boost executive pay and not invest in the workers and not invest in the infrastructure and not invest in something that creates a better customer experience. If they've got $85 billion to buy Time Warner, they've certainly got enough money to bargain a fair contract with the 20,000 plus District 3 members down there who just want to have a job to come to the next day. They're not looking for any handouts. They're just looking to work. And when the company's up, they want to be up with them. And that's not a huge ask.
Manny, who do you want to give a shout out to, man? Let's give some shout outs to some, you don't have to give people, but if you want to just give names of call centers, or, who do you want to give a shout out to before we get out of here?
Man, I tell you, the rank and file has just been incredible. This has been inspiring beyond belief, but I got to give special props here locally to the 3 local presidents here in South Florida that stood up and believed in this concerted work activity, and that's CWA Locals 3120, 3121, 3122. All have been monstrous. The 3 presidents, Dennis Kitchens, Johnny Miltisi, and Chris Walterson, Chris being my local president. Just special props to them for believing in this when things didn't look very positive. We stuck it out, and we definitely have been fighting hard. So special props to them. And then finally, our entire District 3 mobilization team. We have 1 representative from every state. And lastly, of course, got to give my sister Marsha Vaughn, who directs these 9 hard-headed mobilization coordinators in here. And if I can just name them, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
Sure, thank you. So we got Darren Williams from Georgia. We've got South Carolina, Rutger Sauer. In North Carolina, Joey Barker. In Kentucky, we have Jonathan Campbell. Tennessee, Shane Bell. Mississippi, we have Shane Scruggs. In Louisiana, Marshall Whitaker, hard charger there. And I, of course, can't leave out my brother in Alabama, the Alan Jackson.
Nice. And then also we definitely have to mention the District 3 Bargaining Committee, who has been, I'm sure they're on the front lines of this thing. That's a really difficult position to be in. And I've also seen that your district vice president, Mr. Honeycutt, has been very active as well. So well done them. Keep fighting.
Yes, and I got to give props to them. Of course, my state bargaining leader, Johnny Hernandez, got to give Johnny the props there for being on the table and fighting hard. And of course, props to the bargaining team and our 2 district leaders, guys that have been incredible, Vice President Richard Honeycutt and his assistant, Nick Hawkins.
I love what they've been putting out there, man. Tell them keep doing what they're doing, and you too, brother.
Thank you very much. We thank everybody out there in Radio Land that has been supportive. Just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you very much. And it's just keep in mind, it's the little things that make the big difference.
All righty. Hey, we have Manny Hartman, Florida District 3 Mobilizing Coordinator. And we'd like to thank you for being on LaborVision for this special edition. Charles Daniels, President of CWA Local 4123. I like that 4123. 123 go.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Man, and Charles also has Charles and I are kind of working collectively with AmericanWorkersFirst.org and LaborVision.org. And we like all of our audience to go to those websites, go to the YouTube videos, hit that subscribe, do the rating, go to the podcast, hit the follow, hit the subscribe. Hey, the more people we got behind the pushing the truth out, the better everything is going to be. So this is the end of another great show. Again, Charles, Manny, thank you for all that you all do. And we will see you next time on LaborVision.